Hello people, this is the penultimate episode of this season's NSMQ review show. So on this particular episode, we'll be looking at the regional qualifiers and then the championship, which is being sponsored by Absa Bank for the Ashanti region. I'll be joined in the studio by Mr. Stephen Yankee, and he is the program's coordinator of the NSMQ. Mr. Yankee, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll also be joined via Zoom by Mr. Lawrence Ofosisechre from TI Amas SHS and Mr. Rija Ntiamwa. He's an enthusiast of the NSMQ, and he's also a past participant of the NSMQ. Hello guys.
Hi.
Yeah, welcome to the NSMQ review show.
Thank you.
Alright, so Stephen, I mean, according to some sources, you know, the Ashanti regional competition was a very entertaining one. And I mean, you were there, so you saw what happened. To you, how did you see it? Did you think it was entertaining, or you think it was just the way it should be?
Well, the Ashanti Regional Qualifiers and Championships always live up to expectation. You know, when it comes to the National Science and Math Quiz, the Ashanti region is one of the powerhouses. Ashanti region, Central region, Greater Accra to some extent. I think these are the powerhouses when it comes to the National Science and Math Quiz. So if you are spending time in Ashanti, certainly you would expect that the competition there would be exciting. The contest would be ones that you would enjoy, and I think that is exactly what we saw on the day. You know, Ashanti region too is where we have the highest number of schools nationwide, so you would expect that in the competition too, that is where we will spend a lot more time. This year we had 79 schools competing during the qualifiers, and we had 26 during the championship. So we spent 5 days on the qualifiers, 3 more days for the championship. So it goes to show that we enjoyed our 8-day stay in the region, and I think we will get to talk more about the individual contests in the course of your show. All right, so
Let me come to you, Lawrence. You saw 8 days of competition, as Stephen said. 8 days. How did you see the competition?
It wasn't surprising because looking at the other regional qualifiers and then the championships before Ashanti region, I knew that definitely we were going to have interesting and exciting contests. So it lived up to its expectation.
Right, Rija. Yes, same question to you. The competition, 8 days of back-to-back competitions. How do you see it?
Oh, it wasn't bad at all. Unlike the other regions where I followed, I think the Central region had nice contests from their regional championship, and even their qualifiers wasn't bad. But in Kumasi, you get the category B schools who are on of equal strength, matching up boots by boots, and you see the females kicking the male schools out. It was a very nice contest, and you should have been there, because those 8 days were very nice days to enjoy NSMQ.
Right, Rija. Thank you very much. So, Stephen, coming back to you, contest 1, Edigenfi SHS, 44 points against Tia Amadias Girls 18, Jacobu SATS 12, and St. Joseph Seminary SHS 7. That was the first contest. How did it start?
Well, this contest, I think, was one that the scoreline or the final scores didn't surprise many of us, because Edigenfi Senior High School over the last few years, they've been on top form when it comes to the competition at the qualifying stage. Last year, they were part of that dramatic tiebreaker contest that saw Kumasi High School going home at the 1A stage. Coming into this competition, I think this year they really wanted to qualify well, and they started the contest very well. TI Amas Girls, Jacobu, St. Joseph, there were no match for them at all. As you can see, the margin was very wide, 44 points as to 18 for the second place school. It shows that Edigenfi was very good in that contest, and we were not surprised at the final scores at all.
Well, in the second contest, we saw a similar trend like that of the first contest. 40 points, 16, 13, 11. Ejusuman taking that contest. Can you run me through?
Yes, Ejusuman Senior High 2 seem to have found their form in recent years. Last year they did well, and this year coming to the competition, the contest to, you know, the schools there are not schools that you would expect that they will really give them any keen contest. Well, maybe Sechidumase, or maybe even upon Memorial, but Presby Bompata didn't look like a school that could really upset Ejeswan in that corner. And as you can see, they won with 40 points, second place with 16 points. There was quite a wide gap in that particular contest.
Thank you, Stephen. So, Lawrence, looking here, contest 3, Agogo State College winning by 37 points in the third contest. How did you see the contest?
Coming up into the contest 3 for the first day, almost everyone knew Agogo State was going to win. Looking at that, I knew Biase and Bumpasi, not any match for them. Even though during the review, I was in support of the other schools, not the seeded schools, but for that particular match, I take Agogo State. My only surprise was the marks that they got wasn't as high as I was expecting them to get. But all the same, they did win, and it was an impressive win.
A good win there by Agogo State College. But Stephen, you want to say something about Agogo State College's win here? Lawrence believes that they could have done better. Do you also have the same opinion? Do you have the same opinion?
Yes. Yeah, the schools they were meeting, looking at the schools they met, that they are great near the Biase and Dompoase, I would have expected that Agogo State would have made it into the 40s, but 37 wasn't bad at all. Clearly, you could see that they were in charge of that particular contest. We look forward to seeing them at the preliminary stage of the National Championship. Hopefully, this year they may come with their colorful suits and matching shoes, maybe once again.
I mean, we'll be looking forward to that. So, Lawrence, contest 4, St. Louis SHS. Qualifiers, they needed a tiebreaker there to win against Tepa SHS. I think this was one of the toughest contests.
Okay, yes. For contest 4, it was keenly contested, and the school that impressed me most was Barry Kessie. Looking at the trend of questions and then how Tepa and St. Louis were battling, they were gradually following them, and they did well, especially in the round 1. St. Louis won. I made some comments that they were a little bit ahead of Tepa. So I gave them a 55% chance of winning, and truly they did it. They did it. Even though there were some other controversies, but once they were able to win, we congratulate them, and we're looking forward to see them perform wonders in Accra.
All right, so Rija, you want to say something about contest 4, St. Louis SHS?
Yeah, contest 4 is one of the keenly contested contests among the qualifiers in Ashanti region. But then I always want people to know, people who follow the NSMQ to know that it's a contest. And in a contest, anything can happen. And it's a contest like football, any other contest, basketball, and anything is said to happen. And in this contest, during the speed race, people were, a lot of controversies, and people were saying that the St. Louis girls delayed and all that. But then in the midst of the contest, Tepa also delayed during the speed race, and the quiz master didn't give anyone a warning or whatsoever. But then when it happened in the final round, people were upset about what happened. So I'm just prompting people to let everyone know that it's a contest. And in a contest, anything can happen. So people shouldn't be blaming prime time and sending messages across board about whatever happened in the contest. By all the same, the girls did well. And Tepa, it was a bad day for them, even though they tried their best. And we hope to see them next year.
So Stephen, contest 4, St. Louis Tepa SHS.
Yes, so just to clear the air on what Eureka mentioned about the controversy, I think Lawrence also mentioned that there were some controversies. I mean, when it comes to the National Science and Maths quiz, there are always some of these control, just as they are in every competition. So this contest was very keen. St. Louis and Tepa SHS battling for who would qualify to represent the region out of this particular contest. and was very keen from round 1 all the way till the end of the contest. And you know, just as we keep saying that even in this quiz, we also have our own form of a video assistant referee, whereby if you have a complaint, you can come and file your protest. If we even need to play back what your students said, we will do that and try to see if we can review the decision of the quiz master or the quiz mistress over there. So that happened a few times in the contest. There was a point in the contest where it was very keen, especially in the riddles. I remember in the riddle, the last riddle was a math riddle. Now, when the riddle went out, Tepa Senior High School then had 39 points. St. Louis had 42 points. Now, the students from Tepa pressed the riddle and they gave their answer as rectangular prism. That was the answer they gave, rectangular prism. But the quiz master did not accept it. He was expecting a cuboid. Okay. That was what the consultant was expecting. Okay. So they raised the issue that no, the rectangular prism is the same as a cuboid. Well, to be fair, whenever these issues come up, we call these consultants. Some of the issues we call them, other issues we can settle over there. But because of how close this contest was and how this answer was going to be a decider, we called on our consultant for mathematics, read out the clues that he had provided, and the answer Tepa gave as a rectangular prism. Indeed, he said if they indeed said rectangular prism, then we can award them the marks. Right. So that was what led to the tie, 42-42, Tepa and St. Louis. So we had to now go in for a tie breaker. Now, when the question was posed, the ladies from St. Louis pressed first. Now, when they pressed, there was a little bit of a delay. In fact, prior to this contest, because of how keen it was, I think the girls were a little down because of how the pressure was on them. There was even a point where I remember, and for the first time I hadn't seen it, the contestant raised her hand and asked the quiz master if she could be excused to go to the washroom. So it just goes to show that they were tensed, and this was a tiebreaker, very deciding one at that. And as soon as the girls pressed, even to gather the courage to speak was an issue. It took a while. The quiz master had to call them the first time, I think the second time. I think it was on the third time that they confidently gave the answer, and the answer was correct. Right. And our friends from Tepa felt that was unfair on the part of the quiz master, because they had also pressed after the girls. And they were waiting. But I don't think it was unfair. You don't think that was unfair?
They were all going to be given the opportunity if one wasn't able to answer, right?
Yes, so. And even during the speed race, there were instances where Tepa 2 had pressed and delayed a bit, but the quiz master had allowed that to go. Eventually, at the end of the contest, they did put in a petition to register their displeasure, and just as we do with all such petitions, we have equally responded to all their concerns. And I'm sure that they will be satisfied, and we would all work hard towards the next year's edition of the competition.
So Lawrence, day 2, the first contest, Ifra could be Ampim SHS, 34 points to win that one. But coming in close, second with 28 points, we have Andawoma SHS. They have 28 points. So looking at that particular contest, what can you tell me?
Well, for the science and maths quiz, once you are fully prepared, you should be hopeful of getting a better results. Kobe over the years have now gained interest, and they have much assistance in their training. So coming into this competition against Adahoma, St. Joseph and Mabine, it wasn't a really tough match they were going through. Just that on a day your contestants could disappoint you, but that didn't happen and they won. I was just about the marks. I wanted all the Ashanti regional schools to be entering the 40s, but 34 wasn't that bad, and I think they deserved it.
All right, so Rinja, take contest 2 for me. SDA SHS are gonna wait 43 points to win that second contest on the second day. What do you think about their performance?
SDA Agona has been impressive for the last years they are joining the NSMQ. Last year they met Achimota at the 1-8 stage, And the round one, they marked them boots for boots, but then the speed race was a mess, and it looks like they're intimidated by the quiz mistress, so they exited the competition at the 1A stage. And coming into from last year to this year, the preparation was very good. They had a few trials that I got the opportunity to watch them, and I wasn't surprised at their performance at the qualifiers this year at all. They really did well, and in the nationals, you should watch out for them.
Right, so in the third contest of the day, we had Toase SHS with 37 points, winning that particular contest. Was it an impressive feat?
Yeah, Toase is a veteran when it comes to NSMQ. And I always say, if you're a seeded school and you happen to lose your seed and you're coming back to your region, there are some schools in the region who are qualifying champions. And Toase is one of those schools in the Ashanti region. Whatever it is, they will qualify. Come what may, no matter the schools they are paired with, they will do the magic. And they've had very impressive contestants in the past. I think in 2017 they had one Isaac Newton, and 2015 they had Bedu. That's our time. And they've been doing well when it comes to NSMQ. But for 37 points as a mark in this contest, Sewa Nyako is relatively weaker when it comes to the NSMQ. But I was surprised with Jache Pramso's performance, because Jache Pramso too has been seeded once or twice in this contest. And I don't know what is happening, but in that contest, they really didn't do well. And Achena SHS is not a veteran when it comes to the quiz. So in this contest, there are a lot of bonuses upstage that you need to pick to boost up your mark. And also the speed race, you have to take your time, because these schools are not really much to be rushing into questions and all that. But all the same, Toase did well.
Right, Toase did well. So, still, let me come to you contest for Adventist SHS Bantama with 63 points, and that's quite high to win the last contest of the day. I think they ended the day on a good note.
Yes, they ended the second day on a good note, as you rightly mentioned. And as you just said, some of the contests are not keen. And so when you have a school like Bantama, Adventist SHS Bantama, against Dramana Kintin, who can try to spring a surprise, Akomadan SHS, Namon SHS, you see that the Adventist guys were well composed on stage, and they were able to feed off these other three schools, picking their bonuses, making sure that they covered their bases with regards to the true or false round. And that is what ensured that they were able to win the contest with 63 points. But just a quick note on the Toase contest. Right. You know, Toase seems to have a record where they qualify for the championship every other year.
I think we just mentioned that.
Yeah, so when they qualify in 2019, 2020 they won't qualify. Then they will qualify in 2021. I think that's what happened. So 2019 they qualified, and then they missed out last year. They've qualified this year. Already people are saying that then that means that 2022 they will sit out. But they mean this year they are going to rewrite their history and make sure they qualify this year, and they will qualify next year as well.
Right, so let's go to the first contest on the third day. We have Osei Tutu SHS winning by 38 points against Okonfanoche SHS, who made 34, third place, Chinibuaku SHS 31. So it looks like the top three really had a go at each other.
Yes, this contest was very keen. I mean, even looking at the names, traditionally, this was a very traditional contest. Osei Tutu is in there, the king is there, Okonfanoche, the fetish priest is there, Chinibuaku, the king who offered himself is there, and the fetish priest or the god also in there. Yeah. So this was a very traditional Ashanti contest. It was keen, looking at the three schools, Osei Tutu, Okonfanoche, Chinibuaku. I thought that the contest was going to be keen between Osei Tutu and Chinibuaku. However, Okonfanoche really impressed me on the day. They were really, really impressive. And I was expecting that they could even upset Osei Tutu, but you could tell that Osei Tutu came to this contest with a lot of experience over the years from the NSMQ qualification, and it paid off where it mattered. They were well composed on stage, and they were able to snatch the victory from their fellow Ashanti gods and kings, and I think that is what attributed to Osei Tutu's victory in that contest.
All right, Stephen. So, Lawrence, contest 2 on the third day, Draso SATS at 28 points, and again received some very close scores, 28-27 at 24. This was, I mean, a highly competitive fixture. What do you think?
Yes, contest 2 came to me as a surprise because before the contest, I had several trials with St. Monica's, and the girls were very, very good. They were composed. They had much energy in almost all the rounds. But on the day, I was surprised at what was happening. Draso came from nowhere, and then they magically did what happened by amassing 28 points. So it was a surprise contest for me, and I hope as they are coming to Accra, maybe and hopefully they can come and perform better over there. That is for Draso.
Right, so in the third contest, we had St. Mary's Girls SHS from Konongo winning that one by 29 points. It seems like, I mean, they took that a bit easily.
Yes, St. Mary's Girls from Konongo had 29 against 16, 11, and 7, showing that they did better, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good. They won the contest. They won the contest, but it wasn't good. So, to me, as they are coming to Accra, my hope is that they don't come and disgrace the region. So they should intensify their training so that they come and do something better. Because you meet Mankanso, Collins, and Pacifica, and you can't win impressively, then I think they have a lot of work to do.
Also, Lawrence thinks
I agree with him. I agree with him. Even though it appears the score is 29-16, the contest wasn't good. The girls from St. Lawrence need to be prepared very well if they can make an impression at the national stage. Looking at the schools they faced, you would expect that at least they should be in the late 30s. So this is not good, but let's see between now and then what they can turn around.
Right, so Rija, let me come to you. The last contest on the day, St. Hubert's Seminary SHS, 51 points, and then the other schools were virtually non-existent in this particular contest.
Yeah, still my point about taking your time, picking questions, one question after the other, one bonuses after the other, the speed juice, you take your time. I think St. Hubert's was tactical on the day because when you meet these schools who don't have a name in the NSMQ, you are the lion in the forest on that day. So you just have to take time, even though you are rowing, you take time and you pray on them. You pray on their questions and their bonuses. And the St. Hubert guys are not doing bad at all. I think I've watched them on several occasions against Opukwa and other schools. And they are a threat. They are a threat. So you should just look out for them in Accra.
Right, Rija. So Rija thinks St. Hubert's Seminary SHS preyed on the other schools in that particular contest. So on the fourth day contest, one Konongo Dumasi SHS 33 points. If you do say SHTS 32 points. I mean, at the top it looks very, very competitive, but down below it looks like it wasn't a contest at all. Rija.
If you just say Konongo and Konongo Wesley, I think there was 2 Konongo schools in there. Nur Amin Islamic is not a school who is a veteran with the NSMQ. And if you just say they are trying to find their feet when it comes to NSMQ. So Konongo Dumasi is somewhat a veteran. You've seen them in the 1A stage, in the preliminary contest. They are not bad. They are not bad at all. So they did well with the contest, even though their mark was very low. But once again, if you just also put a threat, because it looks like from 1-1 to the latter part, they were all a par. They were just going up, down, up, down, up, down. But then Konongo managed to win. And they didn't really impress me during their trials. But then I was always expecting them to win because they are veterans.
Right, so Stephen, contest to Kumasi High School, 39 points. I think those was this Kumasi High School was one of the schools that people tipped to actually come out on top of this contest, and rightly so they did.
Yes, and you know, Kumasi High School over the last couple of years were always at the semi-final stage until they started sinking into the abyss. And last year we saw them at the 1A stage in that tiebreaker contest that they crashed out at that stage. So I think after that particular incident, they may have made a vow that this time they were going to qualify and qualify well. In this contest, it was keen from the start. I mean, they were coming up against Okes in this particular contest and St. Jerome. St. Jerome was not going to be a contest, but it was going to be Okes in this contest. And when we started the contest, you could tell that Okes was also doing very well, but it didn't take too long for Kumasi High School to begin to extend their lead in the contest. And it was clear that they wanted this victory more. They had a lot more at stake, given their pedigree in the competition, having been to the semi-finals consecutively for a number of years until they started sinking. So I think this is just to signal maybe their return to glory days, and perhaps they've put certain structures in place so that come the national championship they may rewrite their story in the competition.
Well, so looking at contest, I think Kumasi girls SHS are looking to rewrite their story. But looking, I think we are starting to see a certain trend. We are seeing very close contests. Contest 3, 44, 38, 33. Even the last had 21. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, this contest was also close. I mean, Ashanti Senior High School was in the competition last year. They were hoping to qualify again for the 2021 edition. But you see, Kumasi girls seem to be more prepared. And they also put in a lot of work. I remember seeing them throughout the qualifiers in the Bono half zone. They were there to follow the contests and these things that they did, trials with other schools all over. I think that paid off on the day. I don't want to take anything away from Ashanti because they also had a very good side. I just think they were in the wrong contest. If they had featured in a different contest, who knows, they would have also been able to qualify from there.
All right, Yuriga, you have something to say about Kumasi Girls SHS?
The NSMQ about contest too, Kumasi High. The NSMQ, people always think the students are good, and it's by virtue of the students being good, that's the more reason why the schools perform. But we rule out the fact that a good coordinator also forms part of the team, making the team very good. And over the years, over the past 2 years, Kumasi High School have had their past coordinator who to take them to semi-finals and all set out of their team. And this year, the old students happened to bring him back. And everyone was like meeting no case. He couldn't do it because he had sat out for 2 years and all that. But then we come back to experience in the game, and they happen to qualify. Even though the marks isn't too impressive, but then they have a mark to make in this year's NSMQ. And with regards to Kumasi girls, in the contest, the boys always underrate the women. That's what happened to Ashanti in this contest. Because they happen to feel like they are matching the male schools boots by boots, meeting TRMAS, all those schools, Prempeh College, even though not winning, but then putting up an impressive performance. So they thought they would just run over the girls and it would be a walk away, but then it wasn't like that. That's what I have to say. So the men should just match the ladies as men.
So there's no underestimating of the ladies in the competition.
Yes, and just to add to what Yurija mentioned about the role of the coordinators, I think we can't say it enough that for a school to do very well in the competition, you need that solid, experienced coordinator to push you through. We saw that with the Presec last year. Mr. Jidefo Afram did a brilliant work in charge of that team. We've seen that with other schools here and there. And I think Kumasi High School, when they were qualifying to the semi-finals, Mr. Kofi Kwarteng was large and in charge. And once they brought him back, we've started to see the results. I mean, Okes also have a fantastic coordinator over there. My good friend Fad is doing some great work over there. It's just sad that they were in this particular contest where Kumasi High wanted it more, and for the second year, OKS will have to sit out and perhaps put their acts together for the 2022 edition.
Right, so Lawrence, the last contest of the day, KNUST SHS 32, Bosume SATS 30 points. I mean, just 2 points to qualify. I mean, it looks like it was a scary one for KNUST SHS.
Yes, KNUST in this particular contest was fortunate to win, because if you look at the schools, you wouldn't think they should be expecting that keenly contested competition. Before the game, I tipped Sakafia Islamic to even do better than Bosume, because Islamic was going on with some trials and they were beating some of the schools, some of the big schools. So I thought they could do better, but on the day, since they were bringing Form 2s with little experience, they couldn't shine. KNST with 32 against Bosume 30 means that they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot of work to do, but I trust their coordinators. Once they get seated and they want to do more, they can come to Accra and perform better.
Right, so Lawrence, stay with you. Contest 1 of the 5th day, we had Insutaman Catholic SHS 36, and again another tight affair here. Agrek Nzima SATS 32 points coming in second, but for the first time we are seeing a Jisu SATS with a -2 in this particular contest. What can you tell me? How was it like?
Let me start with the minors. When they were having the contest throughout the nation, we saw a lot of minuses, and we were hoping Ashanti doesn't record a minus. So when we got that minus, a whole lot of cheers were coming from the eastern and then the central. So we were happy Ashanti was also able to get one of their minuses. Now, Agrek Nzima, I was there when they called to have a trial with us. I didn't even want to accept them because I thought Agrek Nzima, what were they coming to do? But they came, I had to even give their boys some money, because math questions which we were delaying and not able to answer, they were answering them with ease. So coming against Insutaman, within me, I expected that they were going to win. But with the experience of Insutaman, who have been in the game for some time now, they were able to win. And I congratulate them.
All right, so congratulations to Insutaman for winning that particular contest. So contest 2, Steve, let me come to you. Sims SHS 51 points. I mean, one of the highest scores. But we had Jobin coming in with 41 points. I mean, that's also an impressive score. So it looks like this was actually, it would have been an exciting competition to watch.
Yes, indeed. It was a very exciting contest. Sims SHS seemed to have found their form in this competition. It was not a very easy win for them. It was keen. Grabbing SHS also give them a run for their money, but in the end you could tell that Sims SHS, I saw on the day some of their former contestants also there to give the current crop of students some support, and I think all of them have come together to try to help in preparing them for the competition. And I was happy to see their score 51 points, very impressive at that stage. I just hope that they can go on to the national championship to do even better, and perhaps also grab one of the 27 seeded spots.
Well, there's still time to grab one of those spots. So contest 3, Tia Mas Kumase 45 points, second again 43 points. Yasantua Girls SHS, and Yasantua SHS, I mean, they have been doing well, but this time around they were not able to qualify out of this group. What do you think the issue was?
Well, Yasantua's rules continued this year. They last qualified in 2018. They tried in 2019. They didn't work out. 2020 they didn't work out. 2021 they were hoping that this would be the year that their prayers to qualify would be answered. Somehow they were in the same contest with Lawrence's team, Tia Amas Kumasi. They said they are the real Amas, and in that contest they showed it that indeed they were the real Amas against the girls. It was sad to see how Yasantua crashed out. I mean, I was torn between being happy for Tia Amas and also being sad for Yasantua, because it's been a while since we saw them on the big stage. They've tried to beef up their team of coordinators, but it's not working. It was heartbreaking to see the reaction of the contestants and some of their students when they lost. I think that there were videos of their interview with our partners, Joy News, that trended when the girl was virtually wailing over there, and it was heartbreaking to see. But we just wish them the best and hope that things will work out perhaps another year. But certainly it also shows that the team from TIMAS Kumasi had also put a lot of work into the preparation, coming into the contest. They knew it was not going to be easy, so they took their time, matched the girls boot for boot. They didn't underrate them at all, and eventually they were able to win that particular contest over there.
Lawrence, I'll come to you. We have a personal stake, but I'll come to you last. So, Rita, what are your thoughts on that particular contest?
In the NSMQ, experience matters. And I always talk about experience, and tactics. You go into a game, it's like any other game, just like football. You have to be tactical. And I feel on the day, the girls weren't tactical because when the contest started, they thought they were matching TIMAS boot for boot, and it's anybody's game, and it could also be their game. But then the boys also felt like, okay, let's take it this way, and gradually we can knock these girls out. Because the girls were very good, but the TIMAS boys were tactical. And it comes back to coordinators coaching your team and telling them how to go about the game and taking it one question after the other. When you lose the question, you don't be panicking or get worried. You just put it aside and we move on. And kudos to TIMAS.
Lawrence, so you tell me how TIMAS made it to the top of that particular group.
Well, I would want to use this opportunity to congratulate the YAGS team, including the coordinators and then their students. They fought and they gave us a very tough match. Before the contest, just before the contest, I had to call my boys out to tell them that it's likely they might get the first two questions wrong, but that shouldn't put them off. They should just relax, and even if they are not able to win round one, I was so confident they could progress and then lead from round two. So when we came, first question we had it wrong, the girls took the bonus. Second question we had it wrong, and then my boys came to look at me. So I had to tell them to relax, and by the grace of God, we were able to make it. It wasn't easy for me. I had a lot of reactions going through me, but I knew we were going to qualify, and thankfully we did it.
Well, thankfully you did qualify. So Stephen, let's take on to sport from TIMAS. Another TIMAS doing the work there. That's 6 points, but of course again, Emmanuel SHS gave them a run for their money in that particular contest.
Yes, this was the last contest of the regional qualifiers. I think prior to the contest, I felt that the contest was going to be keen between Formina TIMAS and Obuasi, because Obuasi Senior High School has been doing very well, even gone on to become seeded before and all that. But in the contest on the day, you could tell that Obuasi was completely out of that particular contest. Wesley Bekwai was out of the contest totally. But it was keen between Formina TIMAS and Ameniampong. From round one, it was very, very keen all the way until the final riddle, the final round when Formina TIMAS snatched that particular victory. It was a very nice way to end the regional qualifiers over there in the Ashanti region. But I think from what we've seen this year, if Ameniampong, if the coordinators should continue to prepare their next set of students, they should be in for a qualification next year. And another thing I noticed was that certain schools seem to have been progressing, improving in their performance. Just take, for instance, Agri Kinzema, who lost to Sutaman. They lost with 32 points. But last year, their final score was 6 points. Wow. That was their final score in 2020.
I mean, that's the market improvement.
Exactly. So 6 points in 2020, coming into 2021, losing with 32 points. It shows that they have done something really, really well, and that is what led to their high scores, even though they did not win. So given the same preparation, if Ameniampong also do that, we are in to see that they may be able to qualify in 2022 And if Obuasi Senior High School too can turn things around, they could also qualify in 2022.
Right, so we could see Ameniampong and Obuasi in 2022 at the National Championship. So if you're still with us, this is the NSMQ review show. We have been talking about the regional qualifiers for the Ashanti region. We'll be going on to talk about the regional championship for the Ashanti region, which is being sponsored by Absa Bank. For more information on the National Science and Maths quiz, you should stay tuned to our social media platform at NSMQ Ghana on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram.